Hello there, YouTube friends, my tuning friends. This video is dedicated to basic introduction to the concept of harmonics in steel pan tuning, and we're dealing with the C5 note. So let me put this on and I'll play the C5 note for you. This is the C5 note. And when you're tuning a tenor pan, a low tenor pan, you hang the pan on the stand, and this is the note that's directly in front of you, the small one that's directly in front of you. You see three notes in a line directly in front of you: C4, the largest note, C5, the octave, and C6, the high note. Well, the one we're dealing with is the second note, C5. Now, what are the harmonics on a C5 note? Well, we're dealing with three basic harmonics, the three first harmonics. The first one is the fundamental, the actual note that you hear. That's the first harmonic. We often refer to that as the fundamental. The second harmonic you hear is C6. C6. And the third harmonic on the C5 note would be E flat or D sharp 6 or E6. Now when you're tuning this third harmonic, you don't want it to go beyond E6. Otherwise the note will become weak and difficult to tune. So how do you arrive at these three harmonics? I have a diagram here. This is a little diagram I made of the C5 note. Of course, C4, that's the fundamental. That's the entire note. And on the ends, or if you divide the note in half, top half and the bottom half vibrate at the C6 frequency. And then if you divide the note vertically in half, then each long half vibrates at either E flat 6 or E6. So how do we arrive at these three frequencies? Okay, so the very first step, you bubble a note or raise it from behind. And in lowering a note, a bit of hammer technique discussion, right? When you're lowering a note, you will tap with the hammer, but you're not hitting a firm blow. You're hitting a bouncing blow. In other words, then try to bounce the hammer off the note. The note will give and come back, give and come back. And while you're doing that, you're tapping generally in the center of the note. Bring it down. As soon as the note relaxes, you begin looking for your partials. So listen for the octave, listen for the third. So as you lower your notes, you'll notice while the note is being lowered, you'll be hearing at least three frequencies dropping. It will be the fundamental, octave, and the third. The one you want to focus on at first is the octave. Now, if your octave is not correct, the note will not sound right. And octaves on steel pan notes are usually just slightly flatter from true pitch. So you take the octave as close to C6, which is the octave for the C5 note, as close to C6 as possible without actually hitting the C6 note. Now, the next point to consider while you're doing this is how do you shape the note? We shape from just about 2/3 up the note from the back. We shape a long slope going back this way, and you shape a short slope going forward. And on the two sides, you shape equally, two equal slopes on either side. That's the shape you're looking for. I can draw two diagrams to show you. From the side, so this is what a note will look like from the back. A long slope going up the back, short slope coming down the front. And from the sides, equal slopes on both sides. So this is lengthways, this is across or transverse. So that's the shape you're looking to create. So while you're tuning your harmonics, you're looking for this shape on the note. Long slope on the back, short slope on the front, that's lengthwise. And sideways, equal slopes. So on this end would be C6, 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 C6. This would be E flat 6, or as you said, E6. Now, when you're a new tuner, it can be quite difficult and quite confusing to understand what you're hearing. You have to develop the ability to listen to several elements of the note at the same time. So you're listening for at least four things. You're listening for the texture of the note. Is it rough? Is it smooth? Is it vibrating smoothly? You're listening for the pitch, the fundamental, which is the big note, the whole note. You're listening for the pitches of the octave and the third harmonic. All four at the same time. But when you're beginning to tune, it's going to be difficult to do them all. So focus first on getting the octave. Once you can get the octave, you strike along the edges, strike but gently on the edges and on the end to arrive at your pitches, right? So as you're lowering your note, it's going to drop. You should get it to drop below the note you're looking for. So I'll go on the tuner again. If you're tuning C5, you're doing C5. Now when you raise the note, it'll be higher. It might be about E or F when you first begin striking it. So you lower it, it should lower to between B to B flat. Get it lower than the actual pitch you need. And when it's at this pitch, begin searching for the harmonics, the octave in particular. So you will raise now the octave and the fundamental together. How you do this? You do this by tapping on the ends. Let's adjust the camera there. Tapping on the ends of the note facing you. Tap on the back here. You're going to hear the response for the octave. You tap on the back here for the octave. You tap on the sides for the fundamental. Okay? You tap on the edges here for your octave. Tap on the side for your fundamental. To arrive at the pitch of the third harmonic, you will do what we call in pan tuning shaving. You'll angle the hammer very slightly and shave from the center to the edge and listen as this pitch rises. Now when you adjust this pitch, the fundamental will rise in pitch as well. So you come and you tap on the back again. Remember that long slope we spoke about? Tap on the long slope on the back to readjust the fundamental. It should drop without your octave dropping too much. So it's a marriage, it's a sort of marriage you're looking for. You're tapping until you hear these three things come together. Fundamental, octave, and that high third. Right? That's what you're listening for. So remember again, we're tuning C5. You're listening for the C6 octave. on E flat 6 or E6, third harmonic. Long slope on the back, short slope on the front, equal slopes on either side. Don't strike too hard, tap gently. And one more point, when you're tuning these little notes, you shouldn't use anything heavier than a 1.5 pound hammer, 24 ounce ball peen hammer, okay? If you use too much of a heavy hammer, you can take the metal, you will push the metal beyond tolerance and it will destroy the note. Right, so gently with a 1.5 pound hammer, that should be enough to tune this note. Any questions you have regarding this video, what I just discussed here, please message me, let me know if there's anything I can clarify or explain a bit further. But I know it's difficult to teach someone to tune off a video. The best way to learn to tune is hands-on with an experienced teacher. But I just wanted to share some tips that when I was learning to tune, I did not have access to. So try this and see.